Almost there.
We're actually live on the scene over here. So.
Oh, okay, go for it.
Good morning. How you guys doing? You guys are locked into your favorite morning show, the Keisa and Joe Show. We got a lot going on. We're down here this morning. It's a Filter Coffee Parlor Shop. Man, let me say that again. Hello, how y'all doing? Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, wherever you guys watching us at. This is going to be an exciting showcase.
It is.
This show this morning.
Yes.
It's going to be different.
It's going to be different.
I'm nervous.
Are you?
Yes.
Why are you nervous? Wait, I know why. Don't answer that question. I know why. Because this guy is in the building.
Like,
is that why you're nervous?
The Emmy award-winning journalist, Art Franklin, is going to be here. Can you believe we got him to come to the show?
You know what? Art is good people. So yes, I do believe it. I'm honored. I'm honored, and I'm looking forward to it. That's all.
Listen. This guy, man, a lot of folks, if you didn't hear from Birmingham, I've seen him, but he's been all over the world.
Yeah.
And I cannot wait to tell his story. But see, here's the thing about Art, right?
Yeah.
I wonder if he's gonna let me call him Art, though. I gotta call him Mr. Franklin. I'm not for sure, right? But here's the thing about him. See, I'm loud, I'm proud, you know what I'm saying? But he goes, how you doing? This is Art Franklin. The voice, you know what I'm saying? And then the charisma that he got with it, right? Yes. He's the only guy who can tell you some bad news and you feel good about it. I mean, you be watching him on TV, Keys, right? I be watching him on TV, right? And then, he be telling you some bad, and you be like, you can see the women like, the R's fine, so good.
Right. That's all that matters.
I was talking with my mom one day. I was coming home. I had just finished having lunch. Tell y'all a quick story before we bring them on.
Yeah.
My mom called me. She was like, what you got, son? I said, Mom, I just finished lunch. Oh, who you having lunch with? Right? I said, I just finished having lunch with Art Frank. You did what? You did what? You didn't call me? That's my baby. That's my man. She said, you don't know Art Franklin. Mom, I do know Art Franklin. So the next time I was with him, I asked him, I said, could I call my mom? Right? She didn't answer the phone.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So, Mom, if you're watching, right?
Yeah.
I do sort of kind of know Art Franklin. But anything else you want to get into before we bring this man up? Because this show is about him today.
It really is about him. I really don't have anything else to.
But how you doing? Staying out of trouble?
I'm doing great. I'm staying out of trouble for the most part.
Okay.
Yeah. Staying out of trouble. I told you had some stuff going on with my little doggy.
Right.
So, Lord, pet parents unite.
Right.
You can send some positive vibes my way.
Right.
This too shall
pass.
We move forward.
All right, so we're gonna say a little prayer for Keisa and her dog. None of your whole name, link you, all that good stuff. You know what I'm saying?
That's so messed up.
I'll take that.
That's
all right, y'all. Without any further ado, on the Keisa and Joe Show, y'all, we are very honored to have the one and only. He's in the building right now. Yeah. The one and only Mr. I got to stand up for this guy right here. What's up,
I tell you.
Omega Sci-Fi. Wait, hold up.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Represent. Omega Sci-Fi.
Represent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look at the ankle. I'm sorry, the wrist.
Yeah.
But you gotta see the other thing in this.
Okay.
The national championship, Michigan Wolverines.
Okay, we're not hating Alabama, University of Alabama over here.
It was a great game last fall, but Alabama, wasn't it?
No, we were not it. We were toppled. We have to so graciously say.
The game went in overtime. That was a great game.
It was a great game.
But we won, so that was good.
Yeah, you see how he's ribbing at me, don't you? Just sucking it to. But I will say this: Alabama has had its run, but I think it's good for the sport. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? For other teams to emerge. Come on. If we go there every year and Alabama's going to win, what does that do for
actually, it's been a while. Georgia's been there before. It's been a while since and I love it here. Remember, my daughter went to Alabama. My stepdaughter went to Alabama. Yeah. It's the second football in our house. The second football.
Right.
Yeah, we love it.
We still love you.
It's good to see you. It's good to see you. Let's do this. Not an accolade.
Emmy award-winning thinker.
Yeah.
Okay. Worked in markets here in Birmingham. He also worked in Atlanta. And he's Emmy award-winning. The count is over 100. I have one award.
Oh, you
And
got
in my
the one that
broadcasting
she
career,
wants to talk to. Yeah, because
over 100 awards.
you were amazing in your broadcasting career. I used to love to watch you on television. I
That's
hated the fact that you left.
look, you weren't supposed to be talking about me right here. There's probably the vet calling me right now on air, but whatever.
It's always about the lady in the room.
Oh.
You know?
See, also, didn't I tell y'all? What did I tell y'all?
Oh, I ain't gonna lie, that was smooth.
No, he's my friend. Like when I tell you that it's genuine, we have never anchored a show together.
We have not.
We have never worked together. However, you get an opportunity to kind of do it today.
That's what we're doing today, right?
Yes.
I'm getting a chance to be on the show with you and Joe.
Yeah.
Wow. Keisa
An
and Joe.
incredible friend here too now. I have to give it to him. Give it to him as well for being a visionary behind this and just sort of locking arms with me to do this.
And let me ask this question. Do you have a portrait on the wall? You remember Dorian Gray? Where the portrait gets older and older, but the person does not?
No, but they gave me yours. They gave me yours.
Joe really looks the same that he did 20-some years ago.
Wow.
When we first met. I mean, really.
I got stories to tell about him.
It's all that working out.
It is. But I got a story to tell about Franklin before we get into the interview. I was doing contracting. I was about to get into radio and TV, and I was a nobody. I mean, really, nobody really knew me. I was trying to get my name out there, and this goes to this man here. Seriously, well, a lot of people do not know in America, the people that know me today, right? I had strong people behind me. This guy here, Art Franklin, I did not seek him out. Honestly, I did not.
Wow.
He, before the inbox was a thing, he inboxed me and said, "Hey, saw you today. Great job. Give me a call." Gave me his phone. I thought it was a joke. I called him. He said, "I want to take you out to lunch."
Yeah.
And from then on, he kind of helped me part of my career. Said, "What do you want to do? If you want to do this, is what you need to go do." And from time to time, and through his busy schedule, he will make time for me. Yeah. When I was doing my home improvement stuff, or when I first got my TV show, he made a spot on his show to bring me on just so he could help me out. Wow. Now, I never asked you this.
What's that?
What did you see in me, man?
Talent, skill, a brother who was passionate about what you were trying to accomplish, and all of us, and Keisa would say this as well. Everyone who has gone anywhere had somebody who identified that they had talent and wanted to put their hand on them and say, whatever I can do to open that door, let me help you. Because trust me, if you look back at my early stuff and some of my late stuff too, you know, if I didn't have someone to help guide me along the way, I would not have made it. And that's what we are here for. God blesses you so you can be a blessing to somebody else. Yes. And if God was going to put me in a place that I could use that platform to reach back and get somebody else who's trying to get there too, there was room for both of us. You know, we can coexist.
You know who exemplifies that to a great degree too, on another level. And when I say that, I mean in a different world. And that's Steve Harvey. I see Steve Harvey pulls so many different people in, different comedians, and that's tough. And you have always had that kind of spirit about you and me. You know, broadcast can be competitive.
It can.
It can be dog eat dog. Am I right, gentlemen?
Yes.
It can be very competitive. So even for us to sit here and to say, let's come together, let's put our platforms together, even for you in the past to even welcome me and to be as generous and kind to me as you have been in the past, that was unusual. I've never felt anything cross from him. He's never looked at me any kind of way. He's always embraced me personally and professionally. So the accolades that you receive are well deserved, and I say that sincerely.
Thank you. But this sister has always lived her truth. Lived her truth with the hair.
Yes. Yes.
You know, and when you see people live their truth, you can't do anything but respect them and give honor to what they're doing, because I think that opens the door for other people to do the same. And so many people hold back and afraid to step out there on their own and be who they authentically are as an individual, and that's what you always did. Never compromising, never doing what somebody else said that you should do, but believing this is how Keisa. This is how I am. This is my hair.
Yeah.
And I love my hair. I love me. And so you need to accept me that way.
Wow.
And I appreciated seeing that in you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And speaking of appreciation, were you about to say
No,
something?
before going any further.
Yeah.
I've done it in person, but I want to tell you on air, man, in front of the world, man. TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah.
bro.
let me-
You do that.
Yeah.
Thank you, bro. Bro,
That's unity right there. That's
Okay.
unity.
Seriously.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's unity.
For
You-
being the veteran,
yes.
going before,
Yes.
and
Veteran
then
mean old?
reaching back.
I don't
No, it means seasoned.
Okay.
It's seasoning.
But just to sit next to him, man, because this, you like bigger than life for real.
Yeah.
People saw you when you left and came back.
Yeah.
They had billboards all over the place about you, man. And then knowing when I saw the billboard, I'm like, that's my friend.
Yeah.
I got that and I can call him if I want to.
Yeah.
And I never would bother him, right? I only would ask him, whenever I did call. I mean, something was going on in Birmingham. He would text me and say, hey, bro, got a hot story going on. Get back to you when I can. Is anything important? That's what, real talk. He didn't have to do that, but he always acknowledged me. Or I'm ready to other people. I know he always acknowledged me, even in his busiest moments. He would let me know he saw my
No
text.
one's bigger than anyone else. We're all the same here. So, and the fact that you would reach out is on me to get back to you, And I just wish more people did that because sometimes they act like it's too busy. In this day and this technology, when we can text back and forth,
In a moment.
it takes you a few seconds to respond to someone.
Right.
Why can't you do this? But this guy, I know what you got going
It's
around.
okay. It's okay.
This guy,
We don't get this opportunity.
yeah, this one right here, who's unafraid to get on there and say what he believes, even when it's controversial,
Yeah.
even when he's in the minority.
Yeah.
But it's what you believe, and you make mistakes to face, and you leave it there. A lot of people in this business only do what it's for. Like, I can come here and just talk about Alabama's greatest school in the world, because that's what most want to hear. But you will say what is your truth as well. And that's what I've always appreciated about you. Real dude, real brother, strong brother.
Yeah.
Strong brother.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But this show is about you, and I want to get into your book here first. Art Franklin gives it all you got. Tell us a little bit about your book.
Well, it's called "Give It All You Got," a message to my young brothers. What this book is about is actually, I just wanted to make sure you guys had a copy of it because I didn't know if you guys did.
I did.
Love it.
But this book was written at a very tough time in life. I was here back in the 90s when I was over at WBRC. And I got a call from my brother who told me that my nephew had passed. He had been shot to death in Detroit. And even talking about it now kind of goes back because he was the first nephew that I diapered, took to Michigan games, and made sure that he had the experience up on a college campus because I wanted him to follow in the footsteps. And so it started out as a book about healing because if anybody ever lost anyone, whether it's to sickness or to violence, and certainly to violence, it changes your life. Our family was going through a lot. My sister, life, she was just devastated from the loss of her son and my nephew. And so I started writing a book about family healing initially and documenting how we were dealing with that because it was something we had never dealt with before. Sent my manuscript out to a friend of mine. She looked at it and she said, this is really good stuff. She said, but it's kind of all over the place. Sometimes people have to reel you back in.
Right.
And she said, what you have always been about is helping young Black men find their way in life. She said, so what I think you should do, you should write a book that talks about your life and your nephew's life and how the two come together and the decisions that you make. Wow. And so that's where it became, me telling kind of the story of what I've done with young people in this city, because it goes back to all those early days of being in action at Inslee High School, my breakfast club at Jackson Olin High School, over at Parker High School, junior achievement at Parker High School, West End, Fairfield, me and Ricky Smiley stepping at Woodlawn High School back in the day, and all the things that I had done in this community, what I did, starting kids and jobs over it. So kind of brought that together and the decisions that young men make. They need to make in order for their lives to be successful. That's what that book is about. Give it all you got.
Can I let some people speak to Art this morning? We've got
Sure.
Marvin who's speaking to you. He joins us from Florida. He says, I remember you from Channel 6 News, Red Mountain back in the day. Last act, Distinguished Brother. Good to see you.
Someone said there's a person in your book today.
Yes, please give it all you got. It's the book that he has. Y'all want to show it to you. As I give him his hellos from our groups this morning. Let's see, Keisa, Joe, and Art Franklin. Good morning. And Marvin had another comment. He says, you're always straight to the point broadcaster, very vocal in your craft. Rachel tuning in, saying good morning to all. Okay, and Gerald Ephraim also tuning in this morning, but I just wanted to give everyone an opportunity to speak to you this
Good morning to you all.
to go out and
That voice.
this book, that voice, right?
That voice.
Like, I
Go
feel
ahead,
like
go ahead and talk to him.
Yeah.
Good morning, Joe.
In this iteration, so we know Art as the award-winning broadcaster. We know Art as the author and the mentor to countless young men. And interesting, you just sharing that story, I never knew that. I've dealt with that in my family.
Yeah.
But isn't it amazing how we don't know?
Yeah.
And your message, even though I'm pivoting now, your message to young men was effective and needed then. Can you talk about today when you see some of the things as you move back to Birmingham? What, if it was for such a time as then, it's also for such a time as now.
It is. In fact, unfortunately, we're still seeing some of the same things we saw before, even worse, because social media wasn't around back then.
Yeah.
And the bullying and all the things that take place on social media now has led to so many more, unfortunate deaths and things of that nature. When I left Birmingham back in 2002, 2001, that was not the case. Coming back here, I love what the city has done. Let me talk about that first part and how the city has really developed. When I left Birmingham, there were tumbleweeds downtown.
Right.
It was is young black men get into disagreements and then settling those disagreements with parents. And we've got to find a way to really teach our young men, especially, and I say young men, and they're not the only ones, but certainly our young men and how to resolve conflict. And that starts at home, obviously, the foundation that we put in them at home. And then again at school, where they're having more opportunities to be in contact with adults, and at church. So much of what I learned as a young man was in church. Deacon Joe, Nathan, and Williams,
Who would snatch you up
He's
in
my-
the event?
He's my Sunday school teacher.
Okay, right.
Fortunately, he didn't have to snatch me up
Oh,
because
good,
my mother
good.
would not allow me to go there and do anything that required me to
Required
snatch
that,
because she would snatch me up
Okay, good.
at home
Sorry.
before I got there. And so, yes, it really does start at home. Everything that I have ever obtained, all that I became in terms of academically and from an educational standpoint, and even what I became in terms of how I developed as a young man, really came from Annie Franklin. She's 98 years old, and I'll be seeing her this weekend. But it really came from Mom, and she has been, my strength and everything that guided me. God first, family, get your education, and treat people right.
Yes.
You do
In that
that,
order.
God's gonna take care of it. And that's why she said I was able to come back to Birmingham. So when I came back to Birmingham, she says, obviously you did something right. Because they're not gonna let you come back. They don't want you back unless you left right.
Right.
So even the computers agreed with you, gave them a thumbs up. That's right. People are walking by, kind of.
So I still don't understand that whole technology with the thumbs. I'm talking on the phone and the thumbs.
Must be saying something right.
I don't know. Let me ask you this, because I never knew this. Why did you leave Birmingham?
It was time. It was really time. I had spent 12 years here, and I came to Birmingham. And this is a true story. People who know me, that I've told you before. I didn't want to come to Alabama. I was at Northern South, so caught up in, and too bad that we get caught up in what we hear from other people and what we read. I thought there was like 60s still existed here. The same troubles that Birmingham faced when it was the most segregated city in the world. That this is how it existed, at little small outhouses, and people didn't have electric.
Wow.
That's the image that we
Right.
still
But
come back to.
that's what you. Even today, when I talk to people and they say, "Where do you live?" I say,
I still
"Birmingham."
think that.
Then I have to battle that as an ambassador today for this city and say, "You don't know Birmingham. You have not been there." But I didn't want to come. My agent called and said there was a reporter job in Tampa. You know how this goes.
Yes,
Reporter
it is.
job in Tampa, a reporter job in Atlanta, and this anchor job in Birmingham. I was in Norfolk, Virginia at the time. And I was military affairs correspondent, host of Bottom Line, and news director at radio station at Huawei, which was a Bishop Willis home radio station back then. So I was kind of Mr. Broadcast in that city, did a lot. I said, let's go for the reporter job in Atlanta. He says, but no, there's a anchor job in Birmingham. I said, dude, I do not want to go to Birmingham, Alabama, and be marked for the rest of my career and never be able to make it anywhere else. How wrong was I?
Wow.
So a friend of mine, Venice,ville, South Carolina, Arthur Fennell, who we had roomed together, I was his campaign manager when he ran for NABJ president.
What was it?
Arthur Fennell.
Yeah.
Me and Arthur worked together, and he would pitch to me, "Hey, Art, what's happening?" I said, "Hey, Art, here's what's happening." So it's kind of weird when Art and Art switched pitching to one another. He told me, he said, "You take your behind," and he didn't use the word behind. Right. He said, "You take your butt down to Birmingham, you get that job, and then you decide whether or not you want to go." I got off the plane at the airport before the airport was the way it is now, and I was like, "Oh man, I can't do this." The news director at the time, Steve Minningham, God rest his soul, Steve said to me, he said, "Art, keep coming, it gets better." He said, "I just moved here from Las Vegas, it gets better." And he was absolutely right. I thought it was going to be a 1-year deal, maybe 2. It ended up being 12. So, and then I'm back.
Yeah. When I came here from Montgomery, my hometown, I thought that I would leave. I was only on a 2-year deal. It was like 2 years, I'm gone. I'm going to Atlanta, I'm going to New York.
Yeah.
No, I got here and I loved the community and the people were so welcoming. It felt like home. I never wanted to go to else.
I mean, we can leave now. I mean, I'm at that point now. I'm retired and finished the question of why I left. I came back, did something. And the only reason I came back was because I would do something that I didn't do before. Because there were other opportunities, but I didn't want to go do the exact same thing in the evenings when I was coming in to do a morning newscast that was branded with my name that I didn't see at any other local television station across the country. Yes, we see it on network news, evening news, you got Lester Holt, and you got CBS Evening News with Nori. So you got all of those network newscasts are branded with an anchor. Local television didn't do that. So for CBS 42 to brand the show, the CBS 42 Morning News with Art Franklin, gave me a reason to come back because I could build on something, and was able to build on it. That's what made me come back. And it also was time to leave when the contract came up again, and I was looking down the road and all of this technology was happening. But this is the best time for me to get out and do what I want to do and not be dependent on like I started rebuilding a company that I had started in Atlanta. So it's about time.
So talk about where, or by the way, we don't want to be selfish here. If you all have any questions, he said, did Steve Crawford take your place at WWF?
Steve did.
Okay,
I was
2003.
I was very fortunate that I was involved in the search for my replacement. Steve's tape came in because I actually asked throughout NABJ. That's the good thing about the National Association of Black Journalists, that you have a resource tool. And I said, look, we're looking for somebody who looks like me and send these tapes in. And Steve was one of the tapes that we got in. In fact, they lost Steve's tape after they looked at it the first time. Had me resubmitted Steve's tape. So Steve's a very good friend. I'm glad to be able to be a part of that process.
Wow. That's history.
That's history.
And again, still looking out for people.
Still looking out for people, and obviously your replacement was a good one because
He's
he's still
still
there.
I know, and
He's still there.
he's way up there.
Yeah, he's way up there.
If you stand next to him, you gotta look up like this.
I've had the pleasure of meeting him a couple times. He's a really good, great person.
Yeah, he is. He's amazing.
Marvin said, and if you all have any questions for Art, please ask your questions. Meaningful values to keep, as Marvin was listening to you. He had a comment right here, Art, and just to add to what Art is saying about Birmingham back in the day, now we know without a shadow of a doubt that Dr. King had some hard clay to mold back in the 60s. And you know, I'm kind of glad Marvin brought that up, because the toughest thing for me to see right now is so in this iteration of my life right now, I go and I cover city council and other news pertaining to Birmingham. So I'm a reporter for the Birmingham Times. City and council
So
meeting.
glad that she's right at the time. I love Black newspapers.
Yeah, and that 60-year legendary paper from the vision of Dr. Jesse Lewis.
Senior.
I mean, yes, Jesse Lewis
Still
Senior.
here.
That's still here.
He took me under his wing.
He's like
101.
101, and married, by the way, and still getting around,
Still
and all that
working.
great- and still working. But you know, to sit in the audience yesterday and to have to hear Mayor Woodfin talk about our kids who are out there who are now in exhibition driving,
Mhm.
okay, and who are how can I say it, wanting to be seen here. Think about the crime that's happening here in Birmingham. Sometimes it pains my heart knowing the sacrifice that some of the folks made back in the 60s, and that is this what we are amounting to today? That our kids it just bothers me from a historical perspective that we have so many kids who don't recognize the gem, don't recognize the ancestors had to undergo to be in this city of Birmingham.
I understand what you're saying. Right. I also want to point out that the vast majority of our young people are doing well.
That's true.
And so often we paint these generations about you're the worst generation, you're doing so bad. They felt the same thing about us in our generation. So every generation gets this label on them.
Yeah.
The difference with this one is that it's just so much violence when they do come to conflict. I mean, we fought in high school and junior high school. Fist fight. Maybe a knife or two in Detroit.
Maybe. Probably.
Maybe a knife. You know, if you lose a game and you don't want to get on the bus going back, because that bus probably gonna get turned over.
Yeah.
But at a basketball game or a football game at a rival high school. But seriously though, the vast majority of our kids, and I meet so many young people that I'm just so proud of, and I look at what they're doing, and you listen to them, and you look at how they're succeeding in the classroom, and then what they're doing outside the classroom. So many other extracurricular things in their communities and giving back of their time. But then you have these ones that make it bad, and because of television stations that want to escalate it and concentrate and focus on the bad, we walk around thinking that's all we have in our communities, and it's just not true. It's just the ones that we see the worst, more focus on them than we see the focus on the positive. That's why I want to do things, and that's why I want to get out and tell stories as well, because I can tell stories about the great things that we're doing and tell it from our perspective, and not let anyone else tell our stories for us.
Because they can.
They can't.
And they
and
won't.
so often they try to tell our stories and they tell it wrong.
True.
Or they put the slam on it that they want, as opposed to really telling the truth.
I think you mentioned a great point, which is why for me, coming from broadcasters and everything, sometimes we didn't have the final editing decision or that final editorial decision about what goes on the air. That's why I think at this point it's such a delight for me to be able to work at the Birmingham Times, because I can go in and tell the story of a cadet Woods who is at Harvard High School, who rose out of tragedy, witnessed his mother being killed, but he is now managing as a senior at Carver High, 10,000 cadets over the state of Alabama, has an aspiration to be a general.
Yeah.
That's sort of that part,
And
you know.
You can look at that Lord Austin right now. Look at the top general, the top ranking Black in the Defense Department, who happens to be an Omega man, by the way.
Oh, okay.
But no, it's good that you can tell that story. And so often you have to go into a morning meeting or an editorial meeting at some of these other news outlets, you pitch your story. Usually that person does not look like you, like your background, don't have your context or perspective as to why that story should be important. So maybe you know, I was kind of those people in the newsroom that was
I had to fight. A radio personality. I believe Oliver died in his home or something like that. But it was a tragic ending. I remember standing out at the television station here, and thank God I did have somewhat of a voice. And I said, guys, we can't just throw this in the second block of the news. This is a huge figure in Birmingham entertainment. We can't just push it out of the way and just say, oh, in other news of the day. No, this is a major figure. This is lead worthy material. So I had to fight. And I'm glad I did.
But that's why voices like Joe Hawkins
Yes.
so important.
Yes.
Because Joe, you had your own
Thank you.
radio station.
Mr. Filter Coffee Parlor.
Yeah. Just remind you guys as to where we are.
Filter Coffee Parlor.
With the coffee bar, you know, we got
Yeah.
the butterscotch right here, and the
Yeah.
butterscotch with the almond milk. So come on down.
Absolutely.
Carry on. What
So
was that
that's
now?
why I think it's so important for Joe
Mhm.
to have your voice, because you got on there, you can talk about whatever you wanted to talk about.
That's what you always made me aware of.
Wow.
You did.
Because you had
Wow.
the power and the autonomy
Mm.
to speak truth to power the way you saw it. Yeah.
And even when I got in trouble sometimes.
And so in this iteration, so that's interesting that you say, because part of what I have thought about at this age is I've been blessed to be able to have a more flexible schedule. But as Joe and I were talking, I want to be able to use my voice. I don't want my voice to go by the wayside.
Don't mute it. No, you can't
You know what I
mute your
mean?
voice, right?
Even though we're in the age of technology, there are a whole bunch of things. And I'll be honest, Art, we really started this program with the idea that we're really going to talk relationships. But kind of what I'm seeing as it morphs, it's really more good news and more relevant news for the 50 and fabulous.
And social action too.
Mm.
You know, think about
Carry
it.
on with that.
Yeah, social action, because you can, like right now, we know the importance of voting. We talk about voter registration all the time, voter education, but the most important thing that we need to be talking about and doing is mobilization, because we've got people registered to vote.
Yes.
The problem we have is getting people out to vote.
Out to vote.
And so I think from your platform, there's a social action aspect of it, where relationships are important. You build those relationships and take those relationships. Like, I got 4 other people I'm taking out to the polls with. You know, so I think from that aspect of the relationship and social action kind of go together. So you
You
can
get a
get
mentor and still mentoring.
So, but I think that's great though, because what you're saying is use the power, don't let the power of our voice go waste for our community. I love it. I love it because we are still building. You
Yes.
understand? We're still building and defining it and all that kind of stuff. So, okay. So in this part of your life, speaking of relationships, you think I was going to get out of that? We're going to talk social. We're going to talk
relationships. Absolutely. I have a great. Go ahead.
and we can talk about your life, great relationship.
Amazing life, Michelle.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Let's hear about Michelle before I go into the things. We want to give Michelle a
Hey,
Michelle.
She actually came on my last night on air. You know, Sherry Jackson, who I love very dearly. Sherry is truly my sister from another. You know, yeah, she's amazing. So if you're not watching, you need to watch.
Yeah.
CBS
42, Sherry Jackson.
Yes.
Yeah, who is a 25, 26-year veteran at that television station.
Award winning.
Emmy Award, multiple
Award
Emmy
winning.
Award, yeah.
Now I'm gonna say this about Sherry. She don't know this, right? It's just what art was to the women. That's what Sherry Jackson was for the men. Like, hey Sherry, no disrespect to your husband.
How
Hey.
you doing, Sherry?
No,
Sherry's a hottie.
yeah,
She's
she's
cute.
and she's good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's excellent.
Yes.
Oh, she's excellent.
Yeah.
Very, I mean, and let me just say, I put my 10 years in the business.
Mm.
To stay in a business for that long
At the same place.
at the same place,
Yeah.
that is a
Do you think we
testament.
can get her to come on our show?
Oh, Sherry would love to come on and talk. Sherry is amazing. She's a great conversationalist. She's got so much to add. So yeah, I don't give you a problem.
Thank you.
I'll
Are we
make a
fulfilling
call.
your
Thank
crush?
you.
Yeah.
Are we fulfilling your newscaster crush? I think so.
Jose will come down here and turn this place
And
out.
turn it
No,
out.
he gonna get the utmost respect from me. I would just tell him, sir, I did have a crush. We'll cover the
We'll
deep.
correct that real quick.
It's okay. She can sit up for us.
Right.
But,
And I'm sorry, we were talking about her wife.
Michelle, she came on with one L, Michele.
Yeah.
She came on the last. She did like the Facebook lives as I was every night at the end of my last week there. We got on there and various people joined to say goodbye, blah blah blah. And that last night, my wife got on, but who I met here in Birmingham.
Really?
We met here in Birmingham in 1999.
1999.
Yes,
Okay.
1999.
Listen up, ladies. That's a long time ago, but you married in
2014. This is our 10-year anniversary next month.
Wow.
Yes,
Wow.
thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. but we met here in the most unlikely places for both of us to be here. Another friend from another in North. We stopped for her cousin that I was here and that she needed to meet someone here that kind of showed her the ropes, and that led to showing her the ropes.
Did y'all hear that?
But also, I was smart enough to know that she was an important enough woman who needed to have someone in her life who was ready to be totally committed to her at the time. And I was still in that place that I wasn't ready to be committed. And we pulled back. I said, because I'm not where you are. But we stayed in contact for all of the years. I left, moved to New York, moved to Miami, moved to Atlanta. She left, moved to New Jersey, back to her home state. Then to California, where she worked California. And then I saw her one day, and then Atlanta. And so, okay, you're in Atlanta, then I may as well take you out. Take you out to lunch, to dinner. Took her out to dinner, we connected. Took her back to our hotel, went back to my condo in Buckhead. I don't know. She back in Atlanta again. We connected again. And then she pulled the ultimate. I guess I should have said so. She pulled the ultimate.
Okay, I'm listening. Okay.
She called me up one weekend and said, "Hey, what are you doing this weekend?" And I said, "I'm good, not doing much." She says, "All right, let me fly you up to Philly. And then we're going to go down to, I got tickets to the Capitol Jazz Fest. And we're going to go spend the weekend at the Capitol Jazz Fest." So, it's all right.
You let her
I hadn't had that before, so
Yeah.
I hadn't had that for me before. So
Okay.
fly me on up.
Yeah, sure.
So she flew me up to Philly. We went to the Capitol Jazz Fest, came back through, and had brunch on the river, and then she threw a party back at the house at her place, a pool party, and family came, and we all reconnected, and life just, took off. God was in the room. God was working. So often we forget about trying to do our thing and don't realize that God is working in the background all the time and pulling things together, and we put together the most amazing relationship, the most amazing marriage, and I couldn't be happier. She couldn't be happier. We're going into eternity together, forever, for always, for love.
That's beautiful to hear.
So what was it? So was it you met her? So Joe, I will give you your credit on this. You always say to focus on being, we're 50 and fabulous, and I hear so much talk.
65.
Okay, wow, wow.
We never thought you were 65.
We never thought you were 65. My God, for the wisdom, but you look great. And they say black, hold on that.
But it will turn great.
Listen, brother, I finally have decided that
I'm getting there. I see something coming.
But okay, so you always say women, sometimes we want to rush relationships. Sometimes we want to get into things fast. You met her in
1999.
You married her in
2014.
That's 15 years.
Yeah.
So what was the time, or when did you know it was time to elevate, move forward?
After that, let me fly you up the field. This was a phenomenal woman. She was not your typical average everyday young lady. She was the real deal. That understood that God came for her family was next. So our core values really aligned very well, and that we could take care of one another. And our job was to look out one another and our families. We do.
But it turned with that incident.
It really did.
What about that incident Was it her? Because some women would say, and I'm gonna get on your sister. Some women would say, "Oh, I'm not gonna be doing all that." Blah, blah, blah. What changed in your mind when she did that?
Well, she
Any doubt as it relates to her?
we don't have that. We don't. We have the type of relationship. We are very secure in who we are and what we bring to the table and what we bring to one another and bring to our families and what we bring the life to live it because of what God would want us to live. And there's no reason to be concerned about anything else. I mean, my wife is on trips constantly. She's a senior vice president for a pharmaceutical company. So therefore, she's on her job. I worry about where she's at, and what she's doing, because I know she's taking care of business, and she takes care of home. So she takes care of.
This is what I've been talking about a lot, Art, when I be on these shows, right? Like, when you got a woman, you don't have to keep tabs on them. You got a man, you got to keep tabs on them, right?
Yes,
But you have to be friends. You got to become friends first. Right? One thing I've learned, and you've been divorced twice, is that you got to take that time to make sure y'all right for each other. I think so many people get into relationships now that they want to rush. They want to see something right away. They put it on the time frame, right? 6 months ago, I don't have time for this. But I always tell people what you're gonna have time for is being divorced. You have time for a breakup, right? Because you didn't really get to know the person.
Yeah.
You stop the process of getting to know the person so you can go and get with the person.
Yeah.
And when you find out who the person is, you find out you don't like the person.
Yes. Yes.
To me, that's the whole problem,
Yes.
right? Women get mad as hell at me, but I don't care. But
Yeah.
because I'm
Yeah.
being very honest, right? Y'all really need to take time. It may take 1 year, it may take 2 years, to get your relationship going, but at the same time, that's really like. And one common thing I'm listening to you say, man, God, family, right? Core values,
Yeah.
right? Things that y'all align with.
Yes.
Most of these women listen to the show, man. They don't know what you're aligned with. You wait for this guy to make sure he got everything, and you don't have it. A lot of y'all ain't got y'all stuff together. You want this man to come in, and when his stuff get raggedy, you get gone. That's a problem.
And that's a good thing you just said that, because everything's not going to always be equal.
Yeah.
You're going to find times where maybe you have to fall back on him more than you have to fall back on her, and then it may shift, and then she's leading, and but the point is, you always have to take care of one another. And I got your back. I know that if I were to fall on my face and didn't have a penny in my pocket and in the bank,
You got
that we're good.
Well, and then
Same thing. She knows that.
She
If she
knows that about
doesn't
you.
lose it, if she lost everything, she's good, because we're gonna be all right. God's got that.
But you knew her since 1999.
I did.
This is not a person that you woke up and that you even had to process within 360 days. You've watched her consistently over the years. You've watched her grow as a person, professionally.
And I watch her as a great mother.
Yes.
More, because family is so important to us. We came, and I hear people don't want to get into a relationship because at this age, especially because somebody else already has a child.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah.
She had 3 children,
Yeah.
12, 14, and 17.
Yeah.
I had a son who was 17. Our sons were close.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, her son is going to be in my son's wedding, this weekend. And so our families are aligned. Our families are close. And I can see how great of a mother she was, and even how great a mother she was to my son. My son was graduating. She's like, look, get to graduation. I got everything in the house taken care of. She laid that house out like I thought a caterer had come to the house with what she had done. So you can tell that someone has just got it here, that God is in their spirit, and that they are able to show that love to others that they come in contact with, starting with their families. I'd be a fool not to want to be with her for the rest of my life.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Michelle, okay, so here's what I want you to do for me. I want you to introduce, I have to meet Michelle.
You do, because Michelle does something called Joyful Journey, because she loves to empower women. So I'm saying
That's my
spiritually,
language.
we'll make sure. Matter of fact, you've got to come to the house.
Please, I would love to just meet her and just talk to her because that's my heart.
Okay.
To empower.
Absolutely.
And
Joyful journey.
Joyful journey.
Yeah, we'll get you there.
looking forward to meeting you. I have to tell you, we got some fans on this.
Okay.
All right, Omar mentioned some things. Hold on. Audio is bad on Facebook. Okay, y'all, give me a heads up, a thumbs up if you can hear me. I want to make sure you can hear me. Maybe a little noisy back here. Reggie Parker, you remember Reggie Parker?
Yeah. I remember Reggie.
He just said Joe, whatever that means. So he's
What up,
watching
fam?
as well.
What's up?
A lot of people are saying that the audio is garbled on Facebook, freezing a little bit on TikTok. Y'all let me know. He says he's watching on YouTube. Better now, Miss Rachel. Okay, good morning. Miss Rachel's on there. Patricia Jackson Smith says good morning to
Good
us
morning,
there.
Patricia. How are you?
Yes, and Mark, I'm watching y'all on YouTube. Okay, everybody, let me know, and as we'll continue with the interview, but let me know. I'll be watching right here if the audio is good or not. I want to make sure you can hear, because Art has really dropped some gems.
A lot of gems.
Let us know. I know that you said you had a special line of questioning for Mr. Franklin here as our special guest this morning.
I do have them. Before you go, I got some things.
It's on you.
But I want to ask you a couple questions about for Black young men. Number one, question I'm going to ask this right from the audience. I want to ask you some more questions about for Black young men. Number one, how to find a good, what should they look for in a good woman? And then the other question I want to ask you is, going into the newscaster game now, what advice would you give to men and women?
Not to get into the newscast. No. We still need people in that space. I'm not going to say don't do it, but I think it's important though for you to understand that it's not the same that it was for me when I started in 1981. 81.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a different world out there.
Yeah.
But I think be ready, and by being ready, it means that there's so many things you can find out on YouTube and other places that you can see what's being done and how it's done. And if this is what you want to do, put everything in place to be ready. You got to write well. You got to speak well. You got to be afraid not to be told no, because as you guys know, most of the people think that people jump into front of a camera all the time or want to be in front of a microphone. Right. Most people say no.
Absolutely.
And you got to understand that there's a way to ask for an interview and to get that interview, or to be, assertive about going after it after you've been told no a few times. But really, the key is preparation. Articulate, read, write, know the key things. Just go ahead and do everything you can. Prepare.
Also, what would you tell young men, right? Have a successful marriage. What are some core values that we need?
Well, I'll always start with the ones I name, but then also I'll pivot to the point that you got to find out what works for you. Everybody's situation is different. What may work for Michelle and I may not work for Joe and his spouse, or you got to find that space by being in contact with one another, communicating honestly, truthfully, talking to one another. And I think so many people send representatives all the time. I've got to be this type of person because this is what she's looking for, or she does the same. This is what he's looking for. No, be who you are, and you authentically who you are. And as you come together, find how the two mesh, because seriously, God is number one in our lives, family's number two, and then everything after that, what are we going to leave behind? Because I know this is it's truthful, and you got to be okay with that. I know, and I tell this to my son. Most of my years are behind me. Not a whole lot ahead yet. Am I going to live like my mom to be 98 and beyond? I don't know that. We don't know. Today could be the last day, but you got to put everything that you have into the time that you have, enjoying the journey along the way, and don't get caught up in all the unnecessary things. Or I know they say don't sweat the small stuff, and it just seems so cliche-ish. Right. But from a real standpoint, that is true. people get caught up in the wrong things and upset about the wrong things and mad about the wrong things and take that anger to bed and everywhere else. Get over it. Keep living. Apologize and move on.
That's so much. We have Nicole here who actually says, "Art married." He is Nicole. He is married. Now, Art is dating a broadcaster friend of ours, which is named you girl. So she was just asking. Yes, he is married. Married Nicole. ATL. Here's Gerald. He said ATL is so much more often in Birmingham. What made you decide to come back to Birmingham? I know you touched on that a little bit earlier today.
And ATL wasn't the only place I lived. I lived in New York, Washington, Miami, Los Angeles. ATL is ATL. Birmingham has much more quality of life when you think about the what you do on an individual basis. And it's become a foodie town.
Yeah.
What Birmingham lacks for me are professional sports.
Yeah.
You know, I grew up in a professional sports town, even though my lives were horrible for like 30 years, and they finally became relevant the last couple of years, and we should be in the should have won the Super Bowl.
The Lions?
The Detroit Lions. My Detroit.
I was a Los Angeles Raiders, and that's how old I go back. Marcus Allen, if I could have married that man, oh my God.
Speaking of football in Los Angeles, Reggie Bush is his Heisman Trophy.
Yeah, is it?
It's announced today. So yeah.
Oh, wow, okay.
So yeah, that's a pretty big deal. But it's opened up another conversation. The center at University of Michigan because they took those down, right?
Yeah.
They changed college basketball.
But before you get up out of here, these are some of the questions I want to ask. What's your favorite food?
Thai food is among tops because I like spicy food. Thai, Caribbean, Italian, in that order. Then we come down to Southern soul, however they want to people want to label it. But I like to eat. I try to eat healthy. My problem is sweets. Tamales or some bunch of crunch.
So really, I love this conversation, this mission, because you know what, 50 and fabulous, and you know what, there's more to our life than just dating, okay? Talking about being this happy tonight. Let's just be real all the time. I'm dealing with that right now. Like, my issue has been sweets. And when I tell you I'm trying to break it, I think it's helpful. And when I tell you that I'm going through a daily deal where now I'm trying to cleanse, he said something when we were on air, we were meeting, he said, my auntie just tried to juice for 30 days, and if anybody wants to lose weight, you can do that. So you know what?
Why don't we make this funny sound when we say something ice cream?
Really? You know what? Because I didn't want to hear that. But that was a wisdom from God, and that's really what I have been doing. So I'm trying to break that right.
That's why Joe is so healthy and so good
Doesn't
shape.
have an ounce of fat on his body.
About 6% body fat.
He doesn't.
Yeah, he's not gonna say he's just being humble, right?
Right.
That's what it is.
Right.
But I like spicy food.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's sweet, like
and sweets. And
what's
as
your
you know,
favorite sweet dessert?
the one I won, Real Men Cook in Atlanta. My banana pudding has won several awards. Yeah. And I do a few things with it. I was gonna give away one more thing. I won't give it away. But I won Real Men Cook in Atlanta. I also won close to 100 Black women gourmet gents. I won it for that as well.
So
I
you
won a
cook
couple.
too?
I cook very well. Yeah.
I'm going home.
Ask Michelle, and she's the one that says you're the chef in the house.
Okay,
And I think that's her way of
right.
just trying to get me to cook.
What's your favorite sound?
My favorite sound in terms of music.
Favorite sound, period. Favorite sound.
Favorite sound. My favorite sound is it's gonna sound probably the sound of my mother's voice, which is the first sound of love that I remember when I think about as a young man, as a kid, I was chicken pox and was itching all over. My mother took all my clothes off me and all night long, just rolled all night with the baby powder and just rolled me all night and sung to me, and just made sure her child was okay. And she probably didn't get very much of it all, but she did everything she said that was always going to be so the sound of my mother. I know. That's what I said. It's not going to be like, something like I hear a lot of other because it really dealt with some real life issues when you think about, and this is the 1959, I think it was, the Lord Turner, where you start dealing with the pain of this, and I guess for me, mothers do it for me. My mom is and what her mom was going through and trying to just love her biracial child, and that biracial child was pushing her away, and then in that scene when she comes to the funeral, and then that hearse is driving down and she shows back up. Yeah, that's it. So yeah.
I honestly have heard so much about it. I honestly have not
You need to spend an evening, the Sunday evening, watching The Imitation of Life. Very good. And there are two versions of it too. There's an older version.
This session with Art Franklin has been awesome. This from Vicky Gary. Hey, Vicky, sweetheart.
Hey, Vicky, how you doing?
Erica Munger says, I love that movie.
Yes.
Rico McAdor, Marvin is still on here. Marvin, we sure appreciate you, my friend. We appreciate you for hanging in with us.
Thank you.
Rico McAdor, the great Art Franklin. Blessings to you all.
Rico,
he is a great Art Franklin.
He is. One last question for you, my friend.
Go ahead.
If you could have done anything else in your life besides being a journalist, what would it be?
That's an easy one because I just didn't do it because of physics. I was a pre-med major.
Really?
Yes, I was a pre-med. Even in high school, I was in a career called biomedical careers. There were 33 of us at my school, the Southeastern High School in Detroit. We were separated from the other kids, and we had our own classes that we went to because we were like pre-med. Got to Michigan as a pre-med student, biology major, but physics just kicked my behind.
Understood.
And I never failed it. I would withdraw from it before I get a fourth-rated F. Smart enough to know that would kill your GPA.
Yeah.
But it also taught me that maybe this is not where you want to go. And someone asked me this, that have you thought about using your natural gift? God gave you this voice, and you should do something with that. And that kind of changed the trajectory of my life. Yeah, but it would have been an OBGYN. That was what I was supposed to be. Yeah.
I had no idea. So, well, my man, I want to say congratulations to you. I heard your son's getting married this weekend.
My son's getting married on Friday, and to a beautiful young lady who has really been great for him. He's had plenty of suitors before, but this one, she is amazing. So we're looking forward to it. So my wife and my daughter, we're leaving tomorrow morning, heading up to Michigan, getting married, and then we'll be back. And while we're there, we'll get a chance to go to probably the last day of the NFL draft, which is in my hometown, starting tomorrow.
I hear the sports. You are a sports fan.
Trust me. I love that you guys know. I love the space that you have here.
What do you think about the space here?
I do. This one on the corner here, I wanted that building at one time to do this very similar thing. Yeah.
So it seems like you're going to be in this space as well.
I already have an app that's approved and that's streaming and everything on both Google and Apple. Just haven't launched it yet. I'm holding it to my close to the vest for now. I got some other things going on, and there's still some other big announcements coming. Yeah.
Hey, bro.
Just stroll around.
Right.
I just trying to make a difference here. Yeah.
I mean, it's something about Birmingham, I have to say.
It is. And you talked about being like home. This really does feel like my second home. It's the place that's really embraced me, and I want to give love back to the city because this city has given me so much love. So it's great being here.
I could not have said that better. I'm a Montgomery native. Okay, I say this is my home, even though I'm from Montgomery. But I just, based on everything I had done in the business when I left, I felt so much love. I was compelled to stay here, and I wanted, and I still just have that. I want to do as much as I can to be a blessing to this community.
The majority of my adult life has been in this city.
Yeah.
When I think about the 12 years previous, and then coming back here in 2016, and now what's this 8 years later? So that's 20 years of my life has been spent in this city.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But yeah, we got the great Art Franklin. We don't want to keep him. He's a busy man.
Yeah.
But
I gotta get a haircut. That's what
we
I
want
got.
to thank you so much for coming on to the show. And if people want to stay locked in, where would they find you at?
All over the internet, but artfranklin.com has been. I need to update it, and I'll tell you that if you go there, you'll find a web page that has not been touched in 10 years. I know the same information is there. My email address is there. Even my number's all over the internet. But you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, X, wherever social media people are, I'm there as well. So you can find me on all those platforms. The Art Franklin on Twitter, ArtQ, ARTQUE on Instagram, and artfranklin.com on Facebook. Yeah.
Again, man, appreciate you so much.
So good to see you, man.
Always, man. That's my
I
pleasure.
still, if I can just look halfway like this, I'll be
I
good.
tell you what,
Sharper than me.
but here's the thing. I would give
I would give this voice for this. Can we trade?
Hey, y'all, the comfort, the one and only Art Franklin. Thank you so much, man.
We thank you so much.
Well,
This
thank you.
has been awesome. It truly is an honor to sit next to you after having witnessed you for so long.
Oh,
I
man.
came here and you were here.
And she's still smiling and such a sweetheart. That is like that forever.
Oh,
I've sat next to him, but I've never sat next to him in this capacity.
me either.
So I got a chance to sit next to him on TV.
And thank you guys. All of
Yes.
you who tuned in just because of these two, but those of you who made it, let me check out what art is all about. And we want to just thank you for that. So thank you for joining us. And I hope everyone has a wonderful Wednesday.
Yes.
There it is.
Thanks, everybody. Y'all have a good day. We'll see you next Wednesday on Keisa and Joe. And keep up with Art Franklin, artfranklin.com. And if you're watching even later, share out the broadcast, okay? Share it out, like it. That's how you help us. And again, we say thank you.